back to bring up another one that so many of us overlook in prison and in society. And I was thinking about all the videos I've done, right? And all the episodes that has been done by doing those videos. And people, they they ask questions, they make comments, right? But never are they asked or listened upon something that took place in a person's life, not so much in prison, but out here in society too. Because, yeah, I pray peace upon y'all families today. I pray peace on y'all loved ones who are incarcerated, men, women, and teenagers. You say teenager because they look grown, but they're not young, old enough, so they're sitting in the state school. And if they ain't old enough, and but they was capable of, then they you know what happened? They end up holding them until they sit them in the prison. But I didn't I don't have that in my gender, right? I don't have that in my gender, but I'm watching this. I'm watching these I'm watching these viewer rates. I'm watching this here thumbs up that ain't nobody giving yet. Ain't nobody shot it out yet. So I'm gonna let y'all catch up on a little bit of it. Uh, Cause I want you to hear about what I have to say. I want you to hear about this here. I know you'll be videoing it, and I told you, when you tell somebody about just release, tell them hit that like button, cause ain't no telling what it might be coming up with next. But there's some things go on in our life, right? When we growing up in society, when we growing up in an institutional place. My father, he was Creole, and a lot of his family was diabetics. A lot of his families was diabetics, right? And which I seen this, and I seen them. I seen them uh, doing. We go there to go for them food gatherings, and they cook all the Cajun food. And I would look at these same people that was diabetics, how they would eat their spicy hot food, and still have a problem. But I'm growing up and I'm seeing this here. I recognize what diabetes, but I see that a lot of people didn't have respect for diabetes. And in a sense, I don't even think nowhere in their life that they ever would have thought that they can catch diabetes or ever have it. Well, my father's people was heavily equipped, but my mother, she had 4 children. I'm an only child that inherits, I would say, because my father, he wasn't diabetic, but I inherited what his family passed on down. But having knowledge, knowing that what you can't do and what you can do and all that, right? It just goes in one ear or one thought and gone, because you find out some of the things you eat that ain't good for you, but you still eat them anyway. I found out that becoming a diabetic, right, doesn't mean that you eat a lot of sweets. It don't mean that. I found out that what makes a diabetic is fried foods and starch, which is what I craved for many years. And I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about this here, and it's done on me because I've seen some diabetic things, and to know a little bit about diabetes because I'm one, right? I'm one. And I've been a diabetic since 1999. I started injecting insulin in 2002. And for this time span, as of now, I'm still a diabetic, right? And I seen people, man, and they be borderline and they don't get across. They stop doing whatever they doing. They don't become that diabetic. It don't the diabetes don't take hold on it. I remember serving time, and when you serving time, they take a physical like every 10 years or every so many years, right? Back then, so I was borderline diabetic, borderline, but that was borderline to me. That's all it was to me is being borderline. It didn't mean really nothing to me. That was borderline cause I ain't stopped eating what I used to eat. I ain't still. I was still craving for a lot of stuff, right? But I was a borderline. Could have gotten away with it. All I had to do is slow down on some of the chips and all that because starch is what really makes you a diabetic, right? Eating all that starch because you ain't gonna eat more sweets than y'all think you would any other food. But I don't know. I tell you this though, somewhere down the line, a change has to take place in your life when you know you're a diabetic. You have diabetes, you borderline, you whatever. Uh, it took a long time for me to see that diabetes was for real. And I remember I can remember when I was doing my video in the early of 18 and 19. I had a diabetic ulcer on the bottom of my foot with a broke toe. And this is basically what my foot looking like now. Let's see, can I get it up in there? Okay. Now, and that's that foot, right? That's that foot that was so messed up and so out of the way. It took me through a lot of pain and misery. It did. Uh, when you disrespect something that can take your life, when you disrespect something that could take a limb, could take a lung, it could take something out of your body, or it can take your life. There's a time we have to really basically pay attention because there's nothing better or greater than not having to suffer from an illness that you could have prevented a long time ago. I was I'm thinking about the times when I used to play ball all day. I used to exercise. I used to do all that, and this was a daily basis routine. But I uh I was looking for something. I think. But I was really astonished when it hit me, right? And when at the time that it hit me, I think I hadn't been locked up 10 years yet, but I was in a 10-year course, like 9 years and something, and I become borderline diabetic, and And so but when I crossed over the borderline, they started me on some pills called Glybride. And the Glybride used to drop my sugar level real low. I couldn't take that Glybride. So I convinced it myself that I needed to be on insulin. This is what I did. I convinced it myself and had them people to take me off the Glybride and put me on insulin. At that time, and to be honest with you, even though I changed from the Glybride to the insulin, my eating habit didn't never change. My intake never changed to the that might have been better for me, but I didn't do no better for it. I didn't do no better for it. I'm talking about this because I told you the other day how when I'm coming, I might not be sounding like that or anything. I might not giving you a great war story, but I'm finna tell you the biggest war in this world, in prison, outside of prison, is diabetes. When we get that little old sentence and we get ready to go to prison, we want to know how the prison is. Man, is they fighting over there? What they doing over there? If they killing over there? What's going on? But ain't nobody asks how they fed over there. Is there a lot of diabetics over there? I was on a unit with a bunch of diabetics. I was on a unit. I remember. I never forget. I was sitting in the waiting room, and the people came and called Wade. When I stood up, my uncle stood up. I didn't even know he was down the unit or was a diabetic or anything. I told him, I said, oh man, I see why I'm a diabetic. But diabetes has taken a toll with me in my life. And diabetes, I experienced this going through the phases of prison more so than I have out here. But out here in society, I'm losing balance. I'm losing balance. And when you go to losing balance, when you go to losing vision, hey, somewhere if you can prevent that, you got to prevent it. And I'm here to tell you because I don't want you or feel like, see, I feel like I had to make this, and I might not get not one viewer, right? I might not get one viewer. But I did this because how can I know so much about prison and talk about one of the number one deaths in prison? Heart attacks and diabetics. The number one killer in society. We always want to know, hey, how they is on in that neighborhood. How you hold up there? But you ain't never asked what's the death rate of what? See, if it was a bunch of A's over there, everybody be talking about it. Diabetes kills people. Diabetes kill anything that kill itself. Or anybody. It was just in me to make this video, right? To talk about it because in my stay of TDCJ, I've seen men literally fall out and die after leaving the infirmary. After leaving the infirmary, fall out in the hallway, die. Yeah, when you got that money and you're in prison, you gonna buy whatever you want to buy. When you in society and you having money and you ain't so mindful of your physique or your figure, then you're gonna buy whatever you want to buy. But if you at a certain size, you've been told by the doctor what you need to do, then that's what you have to do more so than anything. Hey, so I showed you my foot from last year, which is holding up. But now of this year, let's see, every day I'm giving a dressing. There's somewhere up in there. We don't take life. We don't take a lot of things more serious than others because we more of available of it or not available of it. When you talk about having to change from eating this and that to stop because I was in the hospital. They wanted to cut my foot off, and the doctor said I was telling him how much I'm in pain. He said, "I'm pretty sure you are." He said, "But I know what can stop the pain." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "By cutting your feet off." It made my foot hurt right then. Uh, and to hear head doctors of surgeons of that field that says these things, but not want to first try to save something. See, because you want to try to save something before you just destroy it, because see when the milk is about to spoil, you can smell it kind of strong, but you'll drink it in, you'll drink with them cereal anyway. It ain't all the way spoiled, but you know it's finna spoil, right? But when we have these uh, infections and we diabetics, we can't overlook some things. And I've been here since I've been here over a week and so now, and I've been in my bed, right? My only view is out the back window, right? And I'm looking at myself, man. I was just one way already, and already I done turned another way. That's how life changes. That's how life hits you. It flips on you like that because it could be the way your behavior you are living, how you treating other people, anything that you might experience of suffering. It has to do something spiritual, and that's my aspect. That's what I believe. And when you're going through these things, then you're being chastised. That's the way I look at it by God. And but I would be glad to be chastised than removed off the face of the earth at that time. See, a lot of guys, that did them took, they didn't have, they might have been through some chastising, but it didn't do no any good. I uh I know it's a lot of people on the outside in society that has diabetes, and I know it's a lot of men and women that's incarcerated today that's diabetics. And but what I'm talking about today is what we have to do to overcome such a disease. Because like you mean, I inherited. I feel like I was my father's only child. that inherited out his side, and I've been through some pains, right? Because they I wouldn't let them cut my foot, so they cut all the top off my foot. Yeah, and they dug in there and scraped up in there. That's now I didn't feel that, but I felt before the operation and I felt after the operation. And what I'm feeling now, going through, where I can't even walk, and the pain that it just thrives on me, right? Y'all know I can talk a lot, right? And but see, a person shouldn't talk about something that he really don't know about. See, when you know about something, you're gonna talk about it more. I remember Richard Pryor used to say that he can tell a joke, and by the time it go by 5, 6 people, it's already that joke been changed. It ain't gonna never be the same. But as a diabetic, as a man who's facing so much in his life, but he's a diabetic. I'm talking to you who are borderline. I'm talking to you who are in diabetics. We can't afford this. We can't afford this. God gave us so much mobility to outmove things. He gave us so many ways. See, because my foot, I don't want to lose it, right? I don't want to lose it. But is it really up to me? If taking my feet to save my life, they got to have the feet. They got to have the feet. But if you can save my feet, and because if you can save my feet, you save my life. So I told the doctor when he told me that, I say, God done bless you all with gifts, to have the surgery skills and intelligence that y'all have. And I know a lot of y'all thank God after you finish that surgery, and y'all pray to God. Well, it's the same way in my aspect, right? It's the same way. So I told him, I said, you've been studying all this here and doing this here and coming up with all these antibiotics to fight certain things. Don't you think you can help my foot? Don't you think you can put enough to help my foot? He said, yeah. See, the pain is time. See, the pain is time. And I did a lot of time. So I did it by being patient. If it's gonna take some time for my feet to heal off of whatever you do to it, but you making sure I keep my feet, time. All this coincide, people. Yeah, the pain is gonna be something I'm gonna talk about next year. Pain is gonna be something I'm gonna talk about tomorrow. I ain't gonna have that same pain eventually. And that pain it's gonna kind of ease away from me. See, I got to be able to talk about it. I got to be able to talk about it. And listen and check this out. Diabetes just don't kill one race of people. Diabetes does not kill just one race of people. It kills all races. Any race of person can have diabetes. My most painful struggle is going through this phase is changing the dressing, because see, now I have to look at something that just don't look right. Something I done probably seen in a magazine or somebody else legs, but I'm seeing so much. My feet is breathing. I thought it was a heat pad or something he put on me, right? And it was throbbing like tightening open. He said my foot was breathing, and the coloration of it is coming back good, but I will lose my baby toe, like I've spoken before. I will lose that, and then who said? God might say different, but uh, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better, and that pain surge that I've been going through is gonna come to an end. It's gonna come to an end. I know it's like, man, this is Cruel Channel. He talking about diabetes. Diabetes are in prisons too. Diabetes is among the top killer in prison. Not the rides, not nobody just getting stabbed every day. You have more people that get life flighted behind a diabetes or their heart. Because see, prison is not so much of a, and here in Texas anyway, is uh, a great feeding state because they feed you so much pork and starch, and they giving you this here on the diet line and all this, and then when you know that you are having a problem with diabetes, anybody's willing to listen and anybody's willing to talk about it if you willing to open up about it. Because it's something that people need to know, that you worried about so much that could happen to you going to prison, but you never knew that you could become a diabetic in prison. You can lose a leg in prison. You can lose, anything can take place in prison. Because, see, those are wars too going on. See, those are wars inside of prison that's going on. And the war is AIDS, the war is heart failures, and the war is diabetes. In prison. See, it ain't, you don't just say, man, they got a whole bunch of this and that over here. They got a whole bunch of everything everywhere around. You don't even know it. You don't even know it. It's something sitting next to you that you ain't even know until you find out. But this is what you real. This is what this is. Now I'm not tripping because I ain't seen nothing but a couple of views come up here, and I'm giving y'all some minutes. And the reason why I'm giving them to y'all is because later on, whenever you pay attention, you're going to enjoy this conversation because you're going to say, oh, I missed that. I'm a diabetic. I'm laid up, people. I'm laid up because of diabetes. Because of diabetes. But see, this is the thing. So much has taken place in my life where I watched it. I've seen it. Is what dwells on me. Is because I seen what diabetes, what bad things for you do to your health. I seen some of the exercising dudes have diabetes. So it ain't about you just being overweighted and all that. Some of my best partners was athletic in the penitentiary. They had to go to insulin. One of them, he used to fall out all the time. They used to have to always come get him. He was taking too much insulin. The man had been in a 6-month coma. Say when he woke up, he thought he just went to sleep yesterday. I've seen and I've been through a lot, right? I've been through so much that I feel at times that I didn't have to go through it. I didn't have to go through it, people. I didn't even have to go through what I went through in my life, but whatever I chose to do then took place. And what's going on now is taking place because I couldn't get around it. I couldn't get around it because I wasn't going to make the right choice. I wasn't going to make the right choice. So I got to be acceptable to what's taking place in my life right now. I have to be acceptable. And by me being acceptable of it, then spiritually, I done gave it to God. And he took it. Because because I accept my pain. I accept what I'm going through. And by me accepting that fact, just that alone, takes me a long way with God. See, some people can probably say some things that sound really nice. Sound really nice. But there's no sincerity in the heart. Because see, I'm telling you something about what took place in my life, not of somebody else's. Not of somebody else's. We're running out here. We seeing people. We seeing people that we used to know that we ain't seen in so long, and when we see them again, in a wheelchair. In a wheelchair. See, I can come in here and I can get on here and tell you all about some adventure that took place in prison. But did I tell you, every maximum security that I was on, a man died? A man died from disability, diabetes, or a bad heart. Mostly all the ones I've been to. The life flights go all the time. And you think it's been somebody that got their head split. And all it is a person having a heart attack. And they got to get them off the facility. See, when you review something, right? When you review something and you proclaim to know something, you know, I see a lot of channels, right? And I be going through a lot of things, but it's some things that don't catch my ear. See, because I prefer to tell you a story of diabetes, and it might not have but 10 viewers, but I told you about something I knew inside the institution. I told you about something that you can prevent from becoming in the penitentiary. And then because being a diabetic just don't mean prison. So now I got my viewers that probably ain't looking now, but might look later and see what's taking place in my life. Told you, tell somebody about it just released. Tell me hit that like button. Tell me hit that like button. Subscribe. Share. Because ain't no telling what I might come back with next.